Hello everybody, good afternoon, no not quite, good morning still for another hour. I am here today to take you through 8 exercises to help you with core activation. Now last week I did a video on my top 6, which actually turned into top 8 stretches to help with lower back pain, and this week I wanted to follow up with that with some core activation work. This video was requested actually by my dad, who is a keen dancer, and a lot of his dance friends, they're doing lifting and complicated moves that require strong cores to help support not just them but the partners that they're dancing with. So this one's for you. Now if you're logging on live, please say hi, let me know what you're up to. If you're watching it via the replay, please write replay and then I'll know that you've been here. So while you're logging on, I am just going to share this in my Strong Fit Women free community. By all means, please join, ladies. There's heaps of stuff like this that I post in the community, in my community page, just to help people sort of upskill their own knowledge, to motivate you and just start you getting back into something. Because often when you've started, which is the hardest part, you can keep going a lot easier. So that's what that group's all about. Let me just share this. So bear with me, and while I'm doing that, if you've got any questions about core activation, please write them in the comments and I can come back to them as we go through this live. So let's pop that on and we'll post to there, and I also post it in my membership page. This is the Strong Fit Women paid membership. Share that in a group because I know we've got ladies that are going to want to activate their core there. There we go. Okay, I think we're good to go. Now, as I say, if you're watching it via the replay, please still write your comments, answer the questions as we go. Let me know if you've got any particular questions about core activation and about any back pain that I might be able to help you with. it's certainly an area that I've spent a lot of time sort of trying to read about, upskill about. So my background before I start, I am a ex-Olympic weightlifter, 3 times Commonwealth Games. I am a rehab trainer, a mum of 2, and a Pilates instructor. So with that background in Olympic weightlifting, in rehab, Pilates, and mums, you know, mums with pelvic floor and back stuff, the back conversation comes up a lot. And, you know, I've been doing this. I first got qualified in PT in 2000. And so what are we now? Over nearly, 20 years or so ago. My mental arithmetic is shocking, by the way. So I built up this knowledge through the weightlifting and upskilling and GP exercise referrals. So please, if you've got any back questions, do ask. If I don't know the answer, I have a few little oracle books that I am more than happy to geek up on and see if we can answer your questions. But have a look first at last week's video on stretching. Sometimes back pain can be solved by stretching. Sometimes back pain can be solved by improving the strength of pelvic floors. That can be a common issue. And other times it is about core activation. So shall we get started? Give me a thumbs up if you are ready. Type floor in the comments if you're going to try some of these with me today. I'd love to know. I have got my computer up here so I can see your comments coming through. Okay, so the first few exercises I wanted to go through are McGill's Big 3. So Stuart McGill is known as a bit of an authority on back care. He has come up with these 3 exercises which are designed to work not only your rectus abdominis, which is your 6-pack muscle that goes through the middle, but also your obliques. It will activate your transverse abdominis, which is your kind of corset style muscle that wraps around your body and is really key in supporting the spine during any movement. They'll also work your erector spina muscles, which is these 2 muscles that come down the back. Your multifidus, which is a little muscle deep through the spine around here. and your pelvic floor will be worked as well. So, you know, we've really got the sides, the bottom, the front and the back through all these exercises. So exercise number 1 is your sternum curl up. Now this should replace any kind of curl up or sit up type movement. His book will talk about the ridiculous amounts of loading that goes through your lumbar spine, which is this lower bit of your spine, when doing a curl up type movement. The spine is also loaded really heavily when you're in a seated position and you let your back round like this. So this sternum curl up is basically a modification for safe back care, but to still work your rectus abdominis, but add in that TVA, your transverse abdominis, and some oblique work. So I could talk through the science of back care for a long time, but I really want to make today quite a practical session. So get down on the floor, have a go at these as we're doing them. All right, so sternum curl up. Your sternum is your breastbone here. The other thing you need to know is the areas of the spine. You've got your cervical spine is your neck muscles, your thoracic spine is kind of this middle section, and your lumbar spine is your lower back. Lie down on the floor, feet hip width apart, and then straighten out one leg. Doesn't matter which leg, just choose a leg, straighten it out. Now what this does is it provides extra torque on the pelvis to make sure that your lower back doesn't flatten down towards the ground. You want a natural curve of your lower back. Place your fingertips on the opposite side to that knee, underneath your lower back. Register the pressure there. Now step 1 of your sternum curl up is just to take the weight of your shoulders and your head. So imagine that your neck, your cervical spine is a block on your thoracic spine. So the neck basically stays in line with the body, and take the weight of your head without lifting your shoulders or head off the floor, and then relax. As you take the weight, make sure that the pressure underneath your fingers doesn't change. If the pressure changes, it means your lumbar spine is either lifting or flattening. So just lift, take the weight of the shoulders and the head, and relax. So this is a real base level version. Let's take it up. Most people will be able to go 1 notch further. You want to lift the shoulders and the head up, thinking about curling around the thoracic area, and then lower down. Make sure your cervical spine stays in line so that your chin doesn't jut out and doesn't pull down into your chest. Just lift just an inch or 2 and then lower. Register what's happening on the pressure on these fingers. We don't want it to change. If it changes, it means that your lumbar spine is moving. If your chin position moves, it means your neck is curling. We don't want to do this. It is head in line with the shoulders, moving as a unit. Pause and lower. To take it up a notch, lift the elbow just an inch or 2 and repeat. So it's such a small movement, but you are working your 6-pack muscle, and the goal is to do it without moving your lumbar spine. The last level of this one is to actually pre-brace your abdominal muscles before you curl up. So inhale, prepare, exhale, draw down the belly, and then curl up, making sure that nothing is moving here and that the head and shoulders move in alignment. So that's your first exercise, sternum curl up, curling up around the sternum level. Next exercise is going to be bird dog. What we're going to do is go in an all fours position. I'm just going to tuck this in so you can kind of see the belly movement here. Okay, so come into an all fours position with your wrists underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. Start, let the belly hang out, and then draw the belly in and hold your back in a nice, straight, neutral position. Level 1 is just to start with the legs. So reach and slide a leg out, making sure that this back doesn't move, and then come in. And then change legs. Do it without lifting up and without changing the position of your back. Once you've got this, you could try adding the opposite arm, just sliding them low along the floor. Changing sides, and as you change sides, careful of the hips moving. And then the third level of this is to actually add a little lift. So slide along and then go for a little bit of a lift. Careful of lifting too high. If you lift too high, then your lower back is going to arch. To build a little bit of endurance, Stuart McGill would talk about doing 5 reps on each side. So come back to that neutral position, lift, come straight back in, and then you can repeat again 5 times before moving on to the other side. So that's your bird dog. What that will do is encourage you to draw in your abdominal muscles. It'll work your back extensors, so the muscles in your lower back, but keeping the spine in that lovely neutral position. That's exercise number 2 of the big 3. Exercise number 3 of Stuart McGill's big 3 is your side plank. And if any of you have done my ab challenge or any of my other core workouts, you'll have seen this one come in a lot. Now, the advantage of this exercise is that you can really work your core muscles without loading up the spine. Because your body's on a sideways position, gravity is going across the spine rather than directly through it. So your side plank version, elbow underneath your shoulder, palm faces down, and just curl the legs up. You can have the hand on the side of the body and then lift the hips up, drawing the tummy in, keeping the hips and shoulders forward, and then lower down. You can make it a little bit harder by straightening out the top leg. You can make this a little bit harder by opening up the legs but having the base quite wide. And then the 4th hardest level would be to have the legs out straight, stacked one on top of the other. Now, some people might find that this side plank position is actually really challenging through the arm. If you struggle holding that position there, then what you can do is use a raised area. So instead of having the elbow down, put the hand on the edge of the kitchen side or against the wall and do your side plank supported that way. And slowly you'll help build up the muscles through the side of the body. Make sure you draw the belly in. So those are your 3 first exercises to start with. Completely nail those before you try the others. Let's move on. Exercise number 4 is the heel slide. So lie down on your back. Oh, let me go the other way around actually, you might be able to see a bit better. So lie down on your back, and the goal with all of these is to keep your pelvis nice and silent. So find your neutral spine position by flattening the back first, then reversing it to arch the lower back. Do this a couple of times and then find the midpoint between the 2. And you should have a little curve in your lower back, but it's not lifted off the floor and it's not completely flattened down. So draw the belly in to support you here, and you can put your fingers on your hip bone, in an inch and down an inch, and just feel the muscles there just kind of activate. And you'll know you've activated them because they'll feel the same as if you were to just cough, and you'll feel those muscles just kind of twitch underneath your fingers. So activate those by drawing in the lower belly and then slide one foot along the floor and then draw it back. You can start by repeating the same leg 5 to 10 times and then change sides. As the leg goes out long, it's going to want to tilt your pelvis and lift your lower back. Your goal is to keep the belly drawn in so that the pelvis doesn't move, and then change sides. Now, it's really easy to just go through the motions with these exercises without doing them properly. So really register what's happening underneath those fingers. And then you can try alternating sides, making sure that as you alternate, the hips don't wobble. This is your heel slide. 5 to 10 reps on each side. Next exercise, we can take it to a knee fold. Again, keeping the hips and pelvis silent. Take one leg up to tabletop so the knee is above the hip and the shin is parallel to the floor. Tap the foot down as though you're dipping it in the water and then bring it back up. As the foot taps down this time, this is what's going to want to tilt your pelvis and lift your lower back. So draw those lower belly abs in and keep the pelvis silent. You can put one hand on your lower belly just to see and check that the belly doesn't start to pop out and it's still pulling in. Go for 5 on one side and then change side. So the repeater, the knee fold repeater where you do 5 on one side before changing is level 1 of this exercise. Level 2 would be to march the feet. So you're changing. What's likely to happen here is the hips are likely to move and wobble side to side. Your goal is to get yourself doing this without any hip wobble. If you can do this, you can progress to level 3. We take one leg up, keep the belly pulled in, and lift the other one up. Now start by just breathing in tabletop. Make sure that the back doesn't arch and the lower belly is still pulled in. If you can hold this position for 10 breaths, you're ready to try knee folds in this position here. Start with the repeater, 5 on each side, and then switch 5 to the other. Ladies, if you have had babies, your rectus abdominis is likely to be stretched. So this exercise in tabletop is likely to be quite challenging because these muscles are quite overstretched and it's going to want to arch your body. So work hard to pull in and keep that neutral spine. So that's your exercise. Sorry, what number are we on? We are on exercise number 5? Yeah, exercise number 5. All right, while we're here, we're going to go on to exercise number 6, your bent knee fallout. So these are all really easy to do while you're watching TV or just mums, if you've got kids at home and their little babies crawling around having their tummy time, use that time to do a few of these. So hips need to stay pointing to the ceiling. Let one leg go out to about 30 degrees, keeping the other leg still and the hips pointing to the ceiling, and then draw the belly in to bring it back to center. Go the same side again. We're going to go 5 on one side and then we'll change sides. As the knee goes out, it's going to want to rotate the pelvis. Your job is to use your tummy and your core activation to keep the hips to the ceiling, and then you can change sides. Once you can do your repeater, so 5 on one side, then 5 on the other, you can start to try and alternate. So one leg goes out to the side and then the other. And you're going to have to work a bit harder because you're changing each side, but the hips stay pointing to the ceiling and the back stays in neutral. So what number are we? We've had McGill's 3. You've had your sternum curl up, your bird dog, your side plank. I've got them written here so I don't forget what's next. Your heel slide, your knee fold, your bent leg fallout, and now we're going to work glute bridges. This exercise is great for glute activation. So we've worked your transversus, we've worked through the obliques. We want to make sure that your butt muscles are working as they should. So feet hip width apart, knees hip width apart, arms by your side, and then just press the hips up, pause for a second, and lower down. Use the butt muscles, press the hips up so you've got a straight line between your shoulders and your knee, and then lower down. If you want to get a little bit fancy and help a little bit with your spinal articulation, press the hips up and then roll down the spine. The upper back first, then the middle, and then the lower back, coming back to neutral each time. Hopefully you can see this. Press up and then roll away. Upper back, middle, lower back, coming down to the ground, bone by bone, coming back to neutral spine. One more time, go up and roll down. And you can do this exercise anything from 5 reps up to 30 times. That's your glute bridges. Last exercise, exercise number 8. Give me a thumbs up if you are ready for number 8. and it's one of the favourites of the ladies in my Strong Fit Women online group. It is dead bug. Come onto your back. You must be able to hold tabletop position to do dead bug. Draw the belly in, your spine is in that neutral position. Take one leg up to tabletop. Let me start here so you can see. Make sure that you've got that connection before you bring the other one up to meet it. The arms then come up to above your shoulders, and you're going to reach opposite arm and leg away. Reach through the heel and then come back. Change side, reach through the heel and come back. Now you don't have to start with such a big movement. What you could do is just start with a little bit. So you're just coming out of that sort of start position, challenging by a little limb movement and then coming back in. Things to watch for. Watch that the belly doesn't pop out and the back arch. Those are your two watch points. As you get stronger, you can reach all the way out and then come back in. Reach through the heel and come back in. Now the arms going back is likely to want to lift the ribs, so you're going to have to work hard to pull it down. So those exercises are my top 8 for core activation. So if you suffer from a weak core, if you get achy backs, achy hips, even actually if you get achy knees, because sometimes everything can work downwards as well as work upwards. If your posture is not what you want it to be, if you are an athlete, a runner, if you are a mum, if you are entering menopause, then all of these things are likely to affect your core stability, either because of issues to do with pelvic floor or to do with your movement function or just age-related stuff that comes up. If you've got a desk job, again, that can affect your posture. The core can switch off. If you've got a standing job, then you might have a slightly overarched lower back and might be kind of sinking into your hips. So all great reasons to try some of these. Please comment below. Let me know which exercise in particular you enjoyed doing and you found the most helpful. And feel free to pass this on to anybody who you think might benefit from a slightly stronger core. If you want more exercises and things like this, please join my Strong Fit Women free community. We have weekly workouts. We're going to do a series that you can do at home using resistance bands soon. We've done some kettlebell training. We've got a 7-day fit challenge. There's a healthy snacks free download cookbook. All sorts of fun stuff just to get you started. So I'll pop the link in the description below, but please let me know how you get on with these, and hopefully between us we will free up some spines and help improve our posture. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in my group.